Luke chapter 11, it starts by saying, one day Jesus was praying in a certain place. When he finished, one of his disciples said to him, Lord, teach us to pray, just as John taught his disciples. I find it fascinating that out of all the things that the disciples could have asked Jesus to teach them, they ask him to teach them to pray. Not to preach, not to evangelize, not to build small groups or lead churches. They ask him to teach them how to pray. Now, no doubt Jesus modeled everything for them, but he explicitly teaches them how to pray. And next he goes on to say a version of the Lord's Prayer that you also see in Matthew 6. And what I find interesting is that it's not actually word for word the way that it shows up in Matthew, which reminds us that the Lord's Prayer isn't meant to be a formula for how we ought to pray, but a model. That Jesus is saying this is what it looks like to go before our Father in heaven. And then he goes on to tell kind of a story about a friend asking for help from another friend and how the friend would be glad to offer help even if it cost him something. And then it goes down to verse 9 to say this, so I say to you, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks, the door will be opened. Now, out of context, this could seem like God just gives us whatever we want and whatever we ask for. But I don't think that's what this means here. The other day, we were driving home from a trip, and my daughter was sitting in the back seat, and we recently got a minivan, which I still can't believe either. But she's sitting in the back seat, and she's watching a movie, and she asked me for a snack. And I was like, oh, yeah, 7, Mom, can I have a snack later? I'm like, yes, let me give you a snack. Pass her back a snack, and I'm like, Brooklyn, here's your snack. Brooklyn, here's your snack. Only to see that her eyes are fully fixed on the screen, on the TV that she's watching. And I realized in that moment, how many times has that been my own ask of God? Saying, God, I want to see you move. Lord, I want to see more of your spirit at work in me. God, I want to see revival happen here. And I wonder if he's like, okay, I'll give it to you. And yet I'm not even paying attention for the response. See, friends, what this verse is talking about is that when we ask of God, that we would understand more of God, that we would walk more closely with him, that we would see his spirit at work. He is glad to do that for us. When we ask for more of his presence, he is always, always willing to give it. But are we listening? Are we paying attention for the response, believing that when we ask these things of God, that he desires to give us more of himself? And so today, I want to encourage you, pray bold prayers. Ask something of God that you might be able to see him at work in you, see him at work in your life. But then would we respond by paying close attention to the fact that we would see that God already was at work even before we asked, and that sometimes he's gracious enough to give us eyes to see what he's doing.